Can you see me now, Mike?
Nah. I saw you
Should be.
originally.
Let me see here. Should show both of us on here.
Nah, I just see me.
Let me see. That shit was working with.
Nah, I see you. Now you gone. Now you back.
All right, cool. Should be able to see us both,
Yeah, now I can see you.
but I can't see you.
I
Usually it
see
does
me
it
in the
split
left
screen.
side.
You see yourself on the right side?
On the left side.
How about you? Where do you see yourself?
Like in that little left box, and I see you in the middle.
Yeah, it's supposed to be showing us both at the same time.
Share screen?
Yeah, you might have to do share screen real quick.
What is this? I'm able to last screen recording. Okay, that's not even. I don't know.
I know we got Michael Mays in there. Michael, can you see both of us on the screen on the live real quick? Or can you only see one person? Want to make sure everybody can see both of us, you know what I mean?
Now switch back to me. Now back to you.
Yeah, this is.
There it is.
Oh,
Oh,
oh, there we
there it is.
go. All right, we in there. We in there. You know what I
What's
mean?
up?
So, everybody, welcome to Hector's Hangout, episode 2. Couple technical difficulties. You know what I mean? I got my boy Money Mike,
Oh
Gian.
my god.
You know me, young money millionaire Mike. You know. Um, so I'm gonna give a little intro, Gian, but I definitely want you to introduce yourself, a little bit about yourself, give a background. I think this is the perfect second episode. Me and Gian met through our first guest, Rob. And, I always talk about the beauty in relationships and networking. And that's actually how me and Gian met, right? Through our first guest, Rob. So, Gian, introduce yourself a little bit about, what you do, what you've done in the past. And then, we'll get into just chopping it up and talking a little bit.
Yeah, name's Gian. Grew up in Jersey with Rob. Shout out to Jersey. I've always, growing up, had kind of a entrepreneurial business kind of interest. So I run a bunch of different kinds of businesses. Have my feet wet in a ton of different stuff. Um, and yeah, just like how you were saying, relationships. That's kind of how I built all my businesses. Try to involve everyone everywhere I can, and it's worked out pretty well. Um,
Awesome. Yeah, man.
yeah.
So you talk early childhood. Me and Rob were talking about this before. Like, when did you know, like, man, this whole 9 to 5 school stuff that everybody talks about, it's not for me, man. Like, when did you realize that entrepreneurial mindset is where you had to be at?
Probably when I was like 13 years old. I used to run a RuneScape private server, and I was having kids donate for items, and I was getting checks for like 2 or 3 grand a month from PayPal sent to my house. And then my dad kind of bugged out, told me I wasn't allowed to do that. But like ever since I took kind of, I used to online game a lot, but then through the online gaming, learned how to make money in different ways online, either like websites, creating bots for games, stuff like that. And then I learned like 9 to 5 is just kind of bullshit. You're basically doing what I was doing inside of a different company 9 to 5.
No, nice. And it's funny you say 13. That's when I first started, right? So I started mowing lawns. First time we ever like, we come from, we're from Boston, right? From
Yep.
there we come over here to Florida. My family lived in Section 8 when we were younger, right? So right before, the boom where everybody was able to move into a house, my family, we moved into a house. First time in an actual neighborhood. I was like, man, how can I make money in here though? So we opened up a little lawn mowing company. I was 13 years old, knocking on doors. Hey, I mow your grass for 25 bucks. My dad kept 20, I kept five. Right?
Damn, he fucking got you.
But I mean, like I said before, man, that's when I learned, right? Like when you make money in business, and I think that's where a lot of people mess up. They think I make $100, like that's $100 of mine. They don't know
Yeah,
there's
no, definitely.
taxes. You have to put it towards resources. There's a lot of investing you have to do within your own business. So even though when I was younger, I was like, damn, my dad got me. But I also realized growing up, like, okay, shit, like I have to learn how to delegate money to certain things to be able to scale the business. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So when you
yeah.
were doing that, I mean, you started at a young age making all that money. When did you kind of come into that, like, oh shit, like I'm making a lot of money, but this ain't all really my money. I have to like put money here, put money there.
Yeah, so it all goes back to that RuneScape private server. I ran into instances where that game is built in Java and JavaScript, where I was not a good enough, programmer to make certain things people wanted. So then I had kind of had to hire my first person and then give them part of the money. Um, because same thing as any business, right? You want to offer a certain product, you might not know how to actually build or offer that product, but you could get the customer in. Um, so kind of like what we're doing with payments and call centers, like how we pass stuff to each other. I can't run a call center, but I know people need call centers. You know how to can run a call center, so just plug it right to you. It's
Yeah.
kind of
That's,
just creating that ecosystem, different
yeah.
margins.
1000%, and that's where like actually that's how me and Mike met. I run the back call center stuff for G, and so I think that's really important though because a lot of people they're like me. They want to be like solopreneurs, but then they're wondering why they can't grow their business. And I always say, man, like if you're good at something, that's cool and all, but like go find somebody who's great at something else to complete you. Have you seen that a lot too, where people just think they could do it all on their own and then end up
Well,
actually
yeah,
fucking themselves over, in the long run.
yeah. I mean, the name of the game now is Shopify, Amazon course, fucking guru bullshit. It's all nonsense. And even when you could figure out how to do a certain thing alone, it's always so scalable and it's kind of fucking boring to be honest. Like having a team and people to work with is kind of what makes it worth it. Like you could have, 100K a month by yourself, or you could have even 70K a month, but have a team that then at least you're like growing and working with people. And it kind of insulates you from issues. Like if you're running everything yourself, you get sick or something happens, your whole business goes offline. So that
A
whole
thousand percent.
solo mindset, I could do everything, works for a little bit, and then you start reaching actual problems and burnout and not being able to scale and such.
No, 1,000%. And a lot of times, I go to a lot of networking events. I go to a lot of like the Grant Cardone events and stuff like that. And they say like once you do something and you master it, you should never do it again. You pass that along to somebody else, and then you move up in your business and grow it so you can scale it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, it's the team thing. Like if you don't do it with a team, like I've never met anybody, and you have your Warren Buffetts and things like that, but if you really think about it, he still invested into something that was massive, where a lot of people, a lot of intricate parts in it, stuff that he couldn't do. He was just able to see something and realize, let me put some money into this, and it's
Yeah.
gonna pop. But I mean, that's
And
that's rare.
he still has a whole team around him, and I'm sure he's not doing it all by himself.
A thousand
Um,
percent.
so I think the people who advertise as being, a lone wolf business mogul are full of shit. they have a team around them if they want to recognize it or not. Even the fact that, like, if you're using Gmail, like, well, then your team is Google because you can't do email or anything without, that business supporting you. So I think it's actually kind of impossible to be in business alone. Um, you need other companies, software, banks, everybody to work together with you. Um,
Absolutely. And I think like kind of like how you were saying, like you have a team, right? You figured out that you weren't good at writing certain JavaScripts and stuff like that. You're like, man, like I can grow this so much bigger if I just get somebody who's really good at that and then I could scale it. But it goes into a mindset thing. Like that's something me and Rob talked about. Like people's mindset sometimes just ain't right. You know what I mean? What do you do to keep yourself in the right mindset? Because me personally, I know you're involved in a lot of things. So how do you keep your mindset just kind of focused? Like, all right, I gotta do this here today for a couple hours. This here, like, are you a big notebook guy or do you just kind of, hey man,
nah,
yeah,
so that's something I kind of lack is like structure. I kind of just each day I'm getting better with it. But that's where my team kind of supports me and where I'm stepping into different businesses, different days, solving different problems, and kind of just bouncing around. And then the team is running, the ground operations and the daily normal issues. I don't dedicate, and I think this is unique to how I run my businesses. I don't say each day is going to get 2 hours. Each business is going to get 2 hours a day of my time. Some days, one business needs 12 hours, the other business needs 0 hours. So for me, it's completely, I could bounce between anything as I see fit. But other
gotcha.
people, it's different. Other people, need that like dedicated time slots to different things, and it works good for them. I think everyone just needs to figure out kind of their process and then keep evolving it so it keeps working.
I think that's a big problem with people too. Like they don't understand what people are really trying to tell them, right? People are
Yeah,
shown how they became successful, but they're not sitting there saying you literally have to do it step by step how I do it. This is how I did it. And you could take certain parts here and there, but I think people take a lot of these mentor like too literal to the point where they're
yeah,
like, "Oh, I literally have to do it step by step how this person does it." You know what I mean?
yeah. That's 100% the reason why I never sold a course for e-commerce or anything, because in reality, it's not teachable, right? The problems that each of these businesses face is unique, and how you respond to it and the tools you have to respond to it are unique to the individual. Most of these kids, for instance, in Shopify, right? They have a payments issue. They don't know how to deal with that. They don't have people in payments that they could hit up and help get that fixed. The course doesn't teach that. The course doesn't teach if your supplier in China drops dead or the China locks down the city. Now how do I get all these products I sold?
Yeah.
So it's not a teachable thing. A business is like something you just kind of have to do and learn, and you can't sell like a out of the box kit for it. Just not practical, right? It's not realistic.
Yeah, and that brings up a good point because even when we met, it was still kind of like the pandemic, right? And I always say this, the pandemic taught people literally and figuratively that if you don't adapt, you die, right?
Yeah,
How did you move? Because obviously COVID took everybody by surprise. One of your suppliers was in China, right? So how did you like you actually succeeded and did very well during COVID, right? So
yeah.
how did you move when you seen like an obstacle like that coming where everybody kind of shut down? Like how did you move to make sure you kept succeeding?
Just got to pay to play, right? I knew the products would never stop moving globally, right? You just had to figure out different ways to move that product. Um, so we adapted to DHL, paying a lot of money to DHL to move the product, and then just paying different import. We got kind of creative with it, right? Labeling what type of products they were, um, and kind of piggybacking off different supply chains off other companies. Um, because there's some companies that it's kind of like the problem with that drop shipping model for most people is it's third party to third party to third party, right? Like you're buying from Alibaba, who's like sourcing from a different company. We kind of went direct and then found other companies that had direct supply chains and just piggybacked off that. And you just gotta realize you're gonna make a little bit less money and you gotta give it to other people if you want to get it done. A lot of people have a hard time kind of doing that and like kind of sucking up to other people and kind of having a hard time even realizing it's okay to burn through money as long as your cash flow is good, even if you're losing money to stay in business and keep acquiring customers.
1,000%.
Um,
No, and then like you're big, obviously e-commerce, and that's your thing. Tell us like how the online world, it just online has just completely changed within the past couple of years. You know what I mean? E-commerce, Amazon, and everything like that. Like, do you see it still going and scaling up the way it is, or do you see it kind of plateauing anytime soon?
well, there's so it always comes back to like what kind of product you're selling. Um, the financial environment right now, things are getting hard for consumers, right? So they're spending less money. Um, Kids bullshit, Shopify ads for flashlights aren't going to work anymore. People aren't spending money at big box retailers. They're not spending money on your Shopify store. Same thing with Amazon. So things are definitely going to get a lot harder and tighter. And I think that's why you just got to keep being, kind of liquid in the e-commerce environment and being able to shift your products to things that, people kind of need more than they want, or kind of a want that could kind of be cheaper than than traditionally, right? So like low ticket items, and figure out how to make that work. Also, advertising rules are changing, right? Becoming more tighter. Data privacy is becoming more tighter. Makes like advertising a lot more expensive and difficult. But I think it's the same for kind of every business environment. It's always just changing, right? You just got to be able to change with it. But things are definitely, way different than they were than a few years ago. And I kind of see them coming down a little bit, right? E-commerce and all that exploded because everyone's stuck home. No one's stuck home anymore. So it's definitely going to come down a little bit. But I still think e-commerce it's just going to keep growing, right? As all businesses kind of shift to more of an internet model than more of like less brick and mortar.
No, 1,000%. And like, what would you say to somebody who is trying to get into the e-commerce game right now? Like, is it worth it for them to get in right now? Because you were talking about the privacy laws, like with Apple right now. You can't. They don't share the data like they used to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know you got to pay to play. So is it worth it for somebody to get in now in the game, or do you? What would you say?
I mean, yeah, like you just have to have realistic expectations, have a team around you, and test things right. It's not like you could just start this with $5,000. Like you like a real budget, a real team, um, and an understanding on how digital ads can be ran today, right? So, uh, a cheap way to test that out, if you can be successful, is try running some affiliate ads, right? Try advertising for other people. You might lose some money, but then at least you can figure out the ad game before you go, build a store, spend a ton of money on, call center, product, all that. Or have a partner who specializes in like ads. So I have a partner who does all the ads. I don't have to handle that. Um, but that's more that like how we went, how we were discussing people are by themselves or not by themselves. So it goes back to that. But every business is difficult, has a barrier to entry. Um, it just if you're good at it, you're good at it. If you're not, but don't go spend 100 grand and not know what you're doing and get in a hole, right?
And what you touched on, like, I think is big. A lot of people see all these people marketing online or just talking about their success stories and how much money they're making. and they think that they're gonna jump out the gate and start making that kind of money, you know, and
Yeah.
they don't set realistic expectations, like you said, you know. So for somebody who's starting out, like, what would you say something realistic, you know, in your industry to kind of look for?
Um, I mean, you always get the unicorn products that crush, right? And that you could scale, but then when you scale, you have a whole different set of problems. Um, Realistically, I just set the expectation. How do I make this work to pay my bills, right? And not go to a 9 to 5. And I think you just take it like that. Take it slow. Don't like instantly think you're gonna have a Lambo in a month. Just try to like pivot to the lifestyle you want slowly, and that's really it.
Like the three
Um,
Lambos you got?
Shit, no Lambos. We have no Lambos.
You
Gas
know,
prices are too high.
but I think, you know, that's so true. Like we've all seen in every industry in that unicorn, something that just pops, you know.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of people don't sit back and say like, that's not gonna happen. You know, that's a once in a blue. I have to really set the foundation up, and then succeed. And honestly, I think that's the reason a lot of people fail at business. They don't
Yeah,
set, like, there's one thing in having huge goals. Like I have huge goals, but if I don't hit my goal in month one, I'm not upset. Like I
yeah,
set a big ass target for a reason. It's to like wake me up in the morning, get my ass out of bed, and like something to shoot for. But if I don't hit it, that doesn't mean I'm gonna quit. You know?
yeah. No,
And
I
I
agree.
and I think people like they mix that up. They think that
Yeah.
their goal is their realistic expectations, and if they don't hit it, this shit ain't for me. I'm just
Well,
done.
yeah. I mean, it's hard with social media and all the
Mm-hmm.
things they're seeing, right? All the cars, girls, trips. Like you own a store and you get that. It's just not true, right? So they kind of go in with that unreal expectation and then give up after 2 weeks.
That's big though, man. Like you see a lot of these online marketers, the forex, the e-commerce, and they do that.
Yeah,
The
it's fucked up.
Lambos, the girls, and they think, oh, I have to get this. It's a good marketing scheme. Like not scheme, but you know, it's a good marketing play, right?
Yeah,
Because all these young people, even some older people, like that's what they want. So I'm gonna show them that, but I'm not gonna show them the behind the scenes. Like I know when me and you talked, we were on a campaign together. Shit, I was working like 80, 90 hours a week on the back end with the customer service. Y'all was
that campaign was
killing
nuts.
it,
That
killing
campaign was
it on the
crazy.
marketing, you know?
Yeah,
But talk about that. Obviously don't say no names because you know we can't say no names on that part, but like
yeah,
how do you land contracts like that, you know? Where you made good, you know what I mean? But how
yeah.
do you land those type of contracts?
I mean, so that those type of things come to me in the beginning. I said it's just like you pass things around, right? You always sharing the pie. Um, so like anytime, even if it's gonna cost me a little more money or like a like less good of a deal, I always pass it to someone I know who has value or things that I kind of want to get into or deals that I want to touch on. So it's just building that ecosystem of deals and different things going on where you kind of have all these separate companies that end up just kind of working together, giving each other access to things that normally nobody on the outside would get access to.
A
Um,
thousand percent. And that was a hell of a contract. And like when you look at the magnitude of that, a lot of people are like when I talk about just from my experience, what I had to do on the back end, they're like, how the hell did you manage it? The same thing. It's a team, man. Like
yeah,
you people are so like they want such a big piece of the pie. Like give me 10% of a Billy instead of a
yeah,
hundred
exactly.
percent of 100 mil.
Yeah, I mean, once you start getting into these bigger plays, the kind of the trick is too is also not be greedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's more than enough money for everybody in it. There's people, a lot of people just get greedy and they just kind of, they have like mental issues. The more
I
money they
think
get,
so
the
too.
worse they get. Um,
I think so too.
and kind of they're in the business for the wrong reason. Like everybody that I'm involved with is in the businesses we're involved with because we enjoy doing it. Yes, on one side it makes us good money, good living. We kind of do stuff people dream of, but on the other side, it's because we're working on something we like, and that's why we're so good at it. It kind of just aligns all the way through. A lot of people get into certain businesses that they don't like because they want the money to give them that lifestyle, but then they're miserable in the lifestyle because they hate what they're doing. So it kind
Yep.
of just doesn't work, and that
No,
makes it not
thousand
scalable.
percent. 1,000%. And it makes it hard too. Like you have to at least enjoy what you're doing. Like there's always peaks and valleys, right?
Yeah,
In business. But if I don't wake up in the morning and that doesn't motivate me, like it's hard to keep pushing,
yeah,
you know? Because I mean, business is hard. I think a lot of people also get the misconception that I'm gonna work. I'd rather work 8 hours for myself than 8 hours for someone else. But it's wrong. You're working like 15 hours for yourself versus
yeah.
8 hours for someone else.
There's also, I think, the misconception that because I'm not in an office or working set hours, we're not really working, right? They think it's like you just click buttons on your laptop and magic's happening. When in reality, it's like, yeah, certain days I don't have to really work much, but then other days, Sunday at 2 in the morning, you're up all night doing stuff.
Yep.
So it's like you lose that 9 to 5, 5 days a week structure, that like safety structure, and you could gain, freedom, but on the other hand, you could have weeks, months just straight grinding. And like it gets stressful, like right, you have employees that have families that you got to pay their bills. It's a whole thing people don't see, and I don't think there's enough respect for business owners anymore. It's just
Thousand
like
percent.
we're fucking evil and tax us, and we're pieces of shit, and people don't really respect everything that goes into it because they see us, living a better lifestyle than that they have, but not realizing that we have all the stress and risk, right? You want that 9 to 5, pay your bills and have no risk, then you don't get the rewards of having the opposite, right? Of all the risk and stress. And I think people don't really put those two together enough.
1,000%. And speaking of like risk, and earlier you said you gotta pay to play. You took a big risk, right? You went from Jersey to Cali, which Cali obviously taxes and all the shit going on, but you met and were able to grow some big relationships, when you did that. So not only you taking risk, like there's a lot of gambling involved in business,
Yeah,
And
yeah,
how did you do it? Like when you're like, man, I'm in Jersey, I'm doing pretty good, but I'm about to take this trip across the country, still run my business, and like, but I gotta just make it. You know what I mean? Like, what goes into the decision process where you're like, all right, I'm gonna make this move, and this is how I have to move when I go over there.
yeah. For me, it's like pretty easy because frankly, I don't kind of, I don't, this might come out weird, like I just don't give a fuck, right? Like I know if I'm
Hey
gonna go
man,
to
we on the
Cali,
hangout. You say it how it
yeah,
is, man. This is how.
yeah, no, like I just know I can make it work, right? I'll figure out how to make it work, and that's how I kind of approach it, everything. I don't think of all the like, oh, if this happens, this what, like, no, you just gotta make it work, and that's just like another thing I think is kind of disappearing. It's like that whole just like man the fuck up, like no one gives a shit.
Yes,
Like no one
yes.
cares about your problems. Stop crying on Twitter. Nobody gives a fuck. Boo
I think
hoo.
that's
Like
huge.
just figure it out, man up. And there's ways to make money if you work, if you give back to your team, build good relationships. It's real, right? But like this bitching and crying and just want the easy way out. It's just like kind of
Well, it's what
why it's why
separates.
people. Yeah. Well, I'm saying it's like why people won't make the move I did, right? They're
Yep,
so scared and so unhappy with what they have anyway. They just don't take that like jump of
1,000%. Shit, I remember when you
yeah,
were making the move, like you were so confident, like this ain't shit. Like this is. It's just like if you were
yeah,
moving across the street, like you were so confident and ready to, because you made a bigger play too when you moved. Like you met so many resources, connections while you're in Cali that you would have
yeah,
never met in Jersey. It just is what it is. People build
yeah,
relationships with people, and sometimes you got to take the flight or take the move and meet people in person to do that.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And then you got to realize you come to certain, crossroads where in Jersey my growth was, kind of leveling out, and I knew if I wanted to, make bigger moves, the people I knew in Cali that if I would live there, I could, go to the next level. So there's only one real option, right? Is to move. Um, so it's just kind of always just that adapting thing, right? So I'm sure I'll
Yep.
move again when the opportunity arises, right? So
And I think people are too emotional about it too. Like if you were to take logic, like I'm a big logical person. Like I like to look at numbers, I break shit down. All you have to do, like if especially if you're in business, you figure out your bills and then you break down how much money you can make off of an extra one or two clients by moving there. Get one or two clients and all your bills are covered. And
yeah,
now whatever you were making is fine. You get one or two more clients from your area. It covers all those bills and everything is good from there. Now you can scale your business again. But
yeah,
I agree, man. I think people, the bitching and complaining that they do is crazy. I was at an event in March. Lloyd Blankenfield, the former CEO of Goldman Sachs, he said it like perfectly. And when he said this, like I'm a risk taker, but when he said this, it like opened my eyes. He said, "Our country rewards risk takers," right? And it's
yeah,
true. Go ahead, open up a company or corporation, LLC or whatever. If it don't work, file bankruptcy on the LLC, and you fucking start from
exactly. It
scratch.
it don't matter. And you could also always get a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
There's like literally a higher demand right now for 9 to 5 workers than there is supply.
Mm-hmm.
So the reality is I mean, I guess certain people are in certain situations, right? Like with families, if you have a family, kids, you obviously could have to take less risk, right? Um, but me, I don't, have that, so I could take all the risk in the world. Um, so I guess that's a little bit of a different thing. There's still like different risks everyone can take to reward themselves more. It's just if you want to take it or not.
Yeah, but and I agree. Like me, I'm married, 4 kids. So whenever I have to, I want to make that move. Like we're planning on moving too. Like yeah, it might take a little bit of a process, but we're gonna fucking do it, right? Because then
Yeah,
it's like the reward is greater for my wife and kids. Like now the reward is multiplied. Not only do I get to live a better life, now
they
everybody that
all
I
do.
care about gets to live a better life. You know.
Yeah,
So I think it's just like you said though. People are not like just manning up to the situation. They rather complain about it opposed to just doing something about it. You know what I mean? Um, I want to ask you something because I'm big on this. I have mentors and stuff. What is your opinion on the importance of mentors? And I think people have the misconception on what a mentor actually is.
yeah. I have a few big mentors, and they help me out all the time and guide me. But a mentor isn't usually someone that you pay for, right? It's someone who you just have a good relationship with. They're usually like my mentors are older than me, but
Well, I mean, you're a
I'm
young
always,
ass dude.
yeah, I'm always trying to, make them money, right?
Yep.
It's kind of, I think there's this misconception that you get a mentor and they make you money, right? So all my big mentors who are very, very wealthy people and connect us to a lot of things. One of them was, one who connected us to that big deal that we worked on together.
1000%.
It's because I have always, went out on a limb to make them money. Um, and you just get rewarded for that, and then they look out for you, and they, kind of just show you the ropes and stuff like that. But I think everyone needs a mentor, learn to give back to those people, and not like and be able to like listen and take criticism from them, right? Um, but it's not someone you pay for off an Instagram ad.
See,
That's
I'm the
not a
same
mentor.
way. I
Yeah,
think the same way. Like, I do this in all business, not just like for mentorships. Like, if I want something from somebody and I want to gain knowledge for them, I want to pay for one of their services first, right? Let them know that I
yeah,
believe in their service, that I'm willing to pay full price for it, right? And then after that, build a closer relationship and eventually they grow into. So if I know I want this person to be my mentor, I want to pay for one of their services to let them know that
Yeah,
I believe in everything that you do so much. I'll pay full price for it.
yeah,
And that's actually how I built like my graphic design team and things like that. A lot of people on my team, I actually paid for their service and they're like, hold on, no, I want to work for you. I'm like, no, I'm going to pay for your service because if
yeah,
I don't pay for your service and you're going to work for me, how am I going to convince my client to pay for our service? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because I don't even believe in you. So I think that's 100% true. Like I do business coaching and things like that. But it's like, man, if you don't believe in any of my other products, like what am I coaching you on? Like you don't even know
yeah,
that my shit works, you know?
yeah.
So I agree with you on that. Um, I know you're from Jersey, so I'm gonna bring up a sore little subject because I know you like hooping. What's going on with your Nets, man?
Bro, tickets are gonna be
You, you,
$1.
you, I gotta I gotta rep my team.
Yeah,
Um,
you're really hitting a sore subject right now, but uh, yeah,
because you were just in Jersey not too long ago, right?
yeah, a few weeks ago. I'm actually going back in 2 weeks. Um,
Talk to KD, man. Let him know. Just please stay.
this is a disaster.
I think we hurt y'all's feelings. We swept you
Yeah,
guys, and then all of a sudden, Kyrie and KD don't know how to act, man.
yeah, yeah.
um, but between speaking of Jersey and then Cali, like, what would you say is the biggest difference? Like, that's completely opposite sides of the country. You know what I mean? What would you
People
say
people in Cali suck at working.
that's most of the country right now?
I mean, it's a different it's like a different value system and a different kind of society, right?
Mhm.
That's why it's also been so easy for I think for me to excel in California because they don't have the same kind of hustle here. Um,
1,000%. You're from that
they're
city.
slower.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, up north, it's fast paced, moving. Like down here in Florida, it's like that too, right? I've lived here for a majority of my life, even though I go back home every year. But down here is so different. And when they see me, like I'm always moving, I can't sit still. Like I'm always trying to get things going.
yeah,
And then everybody here is just laid back, and I
yeah,
catch them off guard.
yeah. It also creates frustration for me here too, especially as I'm building out some Cali businesses, right? Um, like how people just kind of view their work and do work is very just frustrating to me. So we have a lot of remote people in like Jersey, New York, and stuff that kind of fill that void.
No, and how do you go about that? Like, especially now, like I feel like, especially after the pandemic, it became pretty hard to hire, right? So, do you just hire somebody that's gonna work hard, or do you like, listen, this is my vision for my business? Like, you have to match where I'm trying to go as well. Not saying they have to be a millionaire like you, right? But they at least have to provide, or at least see where I'm trying to go with my business, and at least fill a void in my business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of a combo, right? Depending what department they're in. Um, there's just some people who won't align with where you want to go, but you kind of need them because they're really good at what they do in their area. Um, but how kind of we build, I think the best team, right, is we try to reward everybody on the team financially and with time, right? My team doesn't really have set hours outside of like the customer service call center stuff because that's something you kind of just need to have set times for. But their other work besides that, it's kind of like just get it done on certain days. Like I don't believe in the whole mindset mentality businesses have for workers. You kind of just give them busy work. I think that just burns out your employees for no reason, right? We have our employees work on their project pieces. When they finish it, good for them. If they're chilling for a few days, good, enjoy it. And then the next project piece comes up, you work on it. And then we're super about like spreading the wealth through the company, right? We try to pay more than everybody, um, and constantly do that. It's not like you wait a year to get a bonus, right? We try to do like monthly things and like just random stuff. And I think that's it makes everybody on the team feel like the business is theirs. And if they work hard and directly impact the business, they're instantly rewarded.
That's awesome. And I think that's big too, especially now. It's a competitive market for hiring, which I'm sure
Yeah.
you see that now too. And we do kind of like a similar model where we do business funding, credit repair, marketing, CRM like we do so many different things, but it's like I reward every single one of my reps if one of their clients in one department goes to another, like I give them a little piece of it, right?
Yeah.
Because they feel like they're part of the whole overall growth of the company. And then if we hit certain numbers, everybody gets a small piece of it, you know? But I don't think a lot of businesses are doing things like that. And I think with this competitive market, like I don't see it changing anytime soon, where people are
No,
like,
it's definitely not going to change. I think it's going to get more competitive, especially as these traditional mindset businesses try to adapt on getting younger people hired. There's just like a philosophical unalignment between companies and employees at a lot of these places.
and where do you see the future going? Like, do you see like a lot of businesses going remote, like how everything is now, or do you think shit is gonna like balance itself back out?
I think it'll balance itself back out because I mean, I like having a mostly remote business, but some of our businesses do have offices, and I like the office, right? And I think the difference is employees like going to an office if you're all working on stuff you like with people you like, then it's kind of just like a hangout type environment. I think the whole office issue is because they were forcing people into the office for no reason, right? Like, yeah, when I used to work in New York, I would have to commute 2 hours a day because NJ Transit sucked dick, 3 hours for a job that I literally didn't need to get out of my room for. And it's just like I lose 3 hours a day of my life for no reason to
Oh
just
yeah,
get, babysat by some older guy who doesn't know, shit, right? It's just like kind of dumb. And I think there needs to be a shift of that whole babysitting employee type mentality to just hiring good people that you don't need to babysit
yeah,
and
thousand
having an
percent.
office environment where people just want to go to the office or they could work remote, but doesn't really matter. But I also think all meeting up and spending time together is good for the team, and having good relationships with your coworkers is good for the business.
I agree 1,000%, and I feel like some people can't do it working from home. Like they're just
No,
not productive at all, you
yeah,
know. And then you have people who aren't productive and they get super sidetracked by being around too many people. So it's like what I like about what happened is just having the option. Like, all right, let me get these people at the office. Let me let these people stay from home. I'll stay at home. Because people just operate differently. You know what I mean? But as a business owner, because you're completely remote, like how do you keep yourself motivated? Where I mean, especially you're in Cali, you're in a beautiful part of California. Like you could be chilling outside. Like, how do you stay motivated to just be like, man, I got a lot of shit I gotta take care of today. Let me go at it.
yeah. I mean, I try to go to different spots and meet up with people as much as possible, but at the end of the day, I think it's part of my upbringing and just how my brain works. Like, I can't just go sit on the beach. I'll go fucking nuts. Like, working on my business in these businesses is like, it's like what I like doing. So it's not like a chore for me, right? There's some parts that suck, but I know I need to do it. Um, and that's why I keep saying like you got to do stuff you like, or it's gonna suck all the time. No business is fun all the time. I have, we're not gonna say anything out loud, but over the last year, a lot of suck has been happening, right?
1,000%.
Tons of suck, tons of money losses, tons of lost opportunity. But like we were saying, it's up and downs. It is what it is. And I, I think if you're doing something you like, you don't really have to be motivated, right? I get up knowing this is what I got to do today, and it's kind of fun. And
1,000%.
also, I think I mean, I think this would be for most people, right? After sitting on the beach for a month or 2 months, it's like you want to do something else, right? that that vision you had in your head of like chilling and doing nothing gets old quick. You need something else to do. So I think a lot of people could get more remotivated if they kind of just stick to the things they like.
No, 1,000%. It'll help too. Like those days, like we said, like we're human, man. Like we're not wired to just wake up and boom, I'm ready to run. I'm ready to do all this stuff. So I think,
Yeah,
like you said, if you find something that you at least enjoy, it's like, all right, fucking tired today, but I know I get to do this when I don't got to go to McDonald's and flip burgers, or I don't got to get yelled at by this person. And I like doing this, so it motivates me to keep pushing forward. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I
and
agree a
I
thousand
think I
percent.
think part of it, like you were saying, like I wake up some days where I don't want to do shit, but I have a good team, so I could help one of my partners be like, "Yo, listen, today I'm not doing shit. You got to handle this," and I handle it, and it's vice versa.
How long did it
It's
take you though to like? It's hard to find good people. Well, I mean, let me take that back. As long as you surround yourself around the right people, like you'll attract the right people. But how long did it take you to get that right team? Because my situation, thought I had a right team, and then that shit don't happen. You know what I mean? I've had people. It is what it is, right? How long did it take you to find that right team and allowed you to scale? Because you guys scaled really fast. You guys are killing it. How long did it take you to find that right team?
Yeah, duh. I mean, a couple of years, and the team's always changing, right? Um, but yeah, definitely a couple of years and a couple of lessons and a couple of trying to figure out who your real team is when shit hits the fan and other people don't want to be involved in things or have your back, and you know, it's trial and error.
1,000%. So before we wrap up, man, what's next for Money Mike? Like, what you got
I
going
don't
on
know, man.
next? Real estate? What are you into?
Nah. Right now I'm chilling. Gonna see the next, 6 months how the Fed raises rates and how, how home prices and all that comes down. Me and my team, we're just kind of focusing on our core businesses, keep increasing cash flow, cash in the bank, and then yeah, probably real estate, start snatching stuff up when things really come down. Same thing with stocks. Um, we're digging more into the payment side, right? Gonna be launching some pretty cool payments products, um, some different, card stuff, and then seeing what we could scale out on that side. But right now, I just kind of more of a hunker down, keep everything going smooth, and you know, this is a time that not a lot of people have lived through, right? How the economy
Thousand
is going.
percent.
Like yesterday was the worst start of the year in the last 50 years for the stock market. Um, houses are imploding, consumers aren't spending money, defaults are starting to happen. So right now, I think it's key for people and business owners keep your debt in check and keep doing what you're good at. And I don't think it's a time right now to start going exploring things you're not good at or not sure about how to do. Um, and yeah, see what happens over the next 6 months.
And talk about that, like, because a lot of people are into like crypto and all this stuff. I've always wanted to dabble in it, just never did. But like, what's your opinion on that?
It's bullshit. Crypto sucks. I mean, every crypto decentralized bullshit company as Voyager actually today stopped withdrawals and all that stuff. They're all imploding. I mean, all that stuff kind of happened because money costed 0% for years, and leverage was out of control. It doesn't exist anymore. So this whole Bitcoin to $1 million is fucking bullshit. NFTs are like I just launched my own NFT thing with my boys. Shout out to Opulent, but it's more NFT for like business community and entrepreneurs. But these pictures of
Dope.
fucking monkeys for $1 million is retarded. You should fucking sell it. Um, Visa, Mastercard, and traditional payments is quicker and cheaper than crypto, safer. Um, Decentralization is dumb as fuck. The only reason why we have a society that operates the way it does and you enjoy all these nice things is because centralization. Um, And yeah, that's my take on it. Sell it, fucking keep your US dollars and don't own magic pixie dust as we call it.
Yeah, because I think so. Me and you are in the payment processing space, so I think we understand like the security and the money and how everything gets processed. But I think a lot of people don't, so they kind of go to that crypto area. But I just feel like, man, if you don't know what the hell you're doing, well, just like anything, like you'll lose a lot of money. Like,
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely money to be made. I've had friends make, millions and millions of dollars in it, but there's money to be lost too, right? It's just that risk taking, and there's just a lot of bullshit in it. And just from my view, the whole aspect and use case for it is just dumb, right? Like, why use a fucking crypto coin that takes 30 minutes to send money and costs you like 12% when you could use a fucking Visa card and pay interchange and get it in a millisecond, right? And then have that money secured, backed, and safe. There's no use case for crypto for me.
1,000%. I mean, like I said, I'm the same way. I don't have no crypto, and I've thought about it. I've seen some people, but it's just like you said. Like if you don't know what you're doing, man, you could lose a lot of fucking money.
Yeah,
It could really hurt you, even when you know what you're doing. I remember when me and you were talking, and you got hurt in the market, you know.
yeah,
But like, you have to be careful. Like, don't be willing to gamble more than you're willing to lose. You know what I
yep.
mean? And in your case, you're like, it hurt, but whatever. You know what I mean? Like you knew what.
You just got to make it back, right? A lot of these people are gambling everything they have, and they have no ability to make money or businesses, and it's not good, right? Like, you have people putting their whole savings in something that's paying them 300% interest a year. Like, and I think that falls back on greed and kind of stupidity. You're a fucking idiot if you think something can pay you 300% a year by just owning it. It's not a thing, right? It's not a thing. Never will be a thing. And now people are realizing it, right? They can't get their money out. They're losing everything. Um, and there's nothing they can do about it. So I think it's like kind of invest what you're willing to lose, and riskier plays like that. Yes, there could be gains. Take profits. Always take out what you put in and then play with house money. But this whole I'm don't believe in the U.S. dollar and banks, and I'm going to put everything on wonderfi.com, and it's going to pay snowflake coins, and your snowflake coin mints coins, and you get 1,000,000%. Like, dude, you're a fucking idiot. I don't know what to tell you. You deserve to
Yeah.
lose all your money. Like, you
No, for
literally
sure.
deserve it. So that's my take on the crypto. The crypto kids.
Speaking of that, man, I have a big take. Like I'm big on debt. I'm cool. I actually like debt. I think
Yeah,
without debt, you can't grow your business. But like there's such a misconception of debt. And you have these people like what's his name? Dave Ramsey. Like I do credit repair, business lending, and they're like, I just don't want no debt. I'm like, Apple took hundreds of millions of dollars a couple years ago, and they got probably more cash flow than any business in the country. And you're worried about you taking debt? Like
yeah.
me personally, I
Keep
think that's how you grow your business is with debt. But it's good
I
debt though. At the same time,
I 100% agree with that. Serviceable debt is the key to grow a business, and it's a good thing if used correctly, right? So, an easy concept for people to understand with why debt is good. So, say you own $1 million in stock, right? If you sell that stock, it's a taxable event, right? So now, if you sell that $1 million in stock, say you had a gain of 400 grand on it, right? So now you're going to get taxed between 27 and 41% on that 400 grand. You could take a loan out against that stock, right?
yes,
For, I think up to like 70% of it. You shouldn't do that because that's how you go upside down if the market moves. But say, you have a million in, you need 200 grand, you take out a position for $200,000, you're paying 8%, and then you just repay it. So there definitely is a huge misconception with debt in America and how to use debt. A lot of people think of debt in like the sense of like I'm going to get $200,000 in student loan debt and not know how to
yeah,
make money. They don't realize that every single business uses debt to make more money.
1,000%. A thousand
Um,
percent. And I'm big on it. Like that's what we do, obviously, right? And I just think like it's such a huge misconception in our country. and it's just so wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I think people just don't get it, and they're so brainwashed that they don't want to get it.
yeah, yeah. They also don't find the right debt partners, right? You need to take
Yes,
debt from people who understand your goal and business and don't fuck you on interest rates, right? There's a lot of sharks in the debt game that will just, make it so that debt isn't serviceable or to make you money. But a
thousand
good
percent.
debt partner is amazing, right? Like I have a partner right now who's really big in furniture, right? And he needs cash to, buy like wood, things like that, so he could build more product. So for him, I'm working on a deal with getting him access to some partners I have where they'll just charge him, like 7, 10%, making 10x on that money. So it's just finding the right partner in debt and understanding business and things like that.
1000%. Cool. So talk a little bit about that. What you're trying to build in the NFT community, but for business and but for business owners and entrepreneurs. I think that's a pretty dope ass idea.
Yeah, so it's called Opulent. It's gonna basically your NFT is gonna be essentially like your membership card or pass, right? And we're gonna make different NFTs under it for different things in the community. But it's really just like a big network group, and we're listen like crypto has some really cool stuff going on in it. There is good tech in it. There's a thing called Visa Token ID right now that's utilizing all the stuff that blockchain kind of built. Um, so there is use cases for it, and I think there is cool stuff in it. My whole thing is just the
Putting all your
overvalue in it.
money in it.
People get yeah, the overvalue in it, right? So that's just basically going to be a community of different entrepreneurs, different people in business that you have to, have own that NFT or have one to be part of the group.
That's dope, man.
So yeah,
Definitely, once you
I'll
guys
definitely send
launch
you
that,
one.
man, let me know.
I got you.
Absolutely. I'll share it with some people. I think that's a dope ass idea. I think growing communities and building communities to help scale businesses. Like you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes like that's
Got
why I
you.
built the business that I did is just giving business owners tools to grow their business. There's a lot of business owners that I know that are really good at what they do. They're just missing a couple key parts. They just don't know where to how to find it, right? So like you guys are killers in the marketing industry. But if nobody knows their product exists, it doesn't matter. But if somebody like you takes over that product and puts it in front of everybody's face, now all of a sudden they hit, right?
Yeah,
But a lot of people don't know how to find someone, a company like you. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I think if we build communities of business owners and entrepreneurs, because let's be honest, small businesses is what runs the country.
yeah,
Yes, large companies and corporations absolutely do, but like your mom and pops, it also employs people in the community, right?
yeah,
Your local gas station also employs people in the community, right? Some of these McDonald's, even though it's a big company or corporation, they're franchises. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So even though it has a big name behind it, it's still that small business owner. You know what I mean? So absolutely let me know when you do that. I love to build communities of business owners because I think that's how we
100%.
can help everybody grow. You know what I mean? But Money Mike, man, second guest on Hector's Hangout.
Uh,
Again,
see who's
thank you,
next.
thank you so much, man, for being here. I value we do business together, but I also value a lot of our friendship and things that we talk about. Man, Mike's put me on to a lot of big clients as well, helped me grow my business, and I think this is the beauty in building relationships. And I think not enough people do it enough to grow their business. It's like, hey, here's my client. I'm gonna service him. Okay, bye. That's really it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
When me and Mike do business, it's not just him doing something for me or me doing something for him. Like we're almost a part of each other's businesses. We love to help each other out, and I think that's how business owners can grow and scale their business. So, man, I appreciate you being here. Second episode of Hector's Hangout. My man, Money Mike. You
money,
know.
Mike. I'm never gonna lose
uh,
that.
Really appreciate you, man. Not only you being here, but you know we've done some good business together. So I want to thank you for that, and thank you for being on
Anytime.
here and trying to blow this up,
A
man.
lot more to come. A lot more to come.
1000%. So everybody stay tuned. This was actually a surprise. I was gonna do like one episode every week or every other week. I shared with Mike. Again, we know Rob together. He's like, shit, man. Let me get on real quick.
Yeah,
So
yeah, had to. Shout out to
I
Rob.
oh man, 1000%. Rob is that dude, man. I love everything that Rob's doing, and Rob's gonna impact a lot of people too. So, once
100%.
again, man, appreciate you. Anybody have any information that they want to ask, hit me up. You know, Mike is a genius in the marketing game. Him and his whole team, man, they've done some big things for some big clients that they had to sign some NDAs for. They can't tell, but you would have never known it's Mike's team behind it. But once again, everybody, Hector's Hangout episode 2. I wish everybody a blessed day, blessed weekend. Happy 4th of July to everybody. Take care.